Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm pretty excited to debut a new series on my channel. So as I mentioned in yesterday's update video, which is in the description below if you have not seen it already, there's a lot of new content that I want to make now that VGC 2016 rules are out. However, as you may know, there's no in-game ladder on BattleSpot right now, which makes battling a little bit more difficult. You know, I can't just do Road to Ranked where I jump the online ladder and play a couple of games immediately. So basically there are two main things that I want to do with battles, and one of them is this new series where I basically play through a couple of games on Showdown. You know, Showdown obviously isn't the same thing as playing in-game, but you still get to see a lot of the top teams. You know, it's actually easier for people to make teams, so you'll face against a lot of legitimate Pokemon and whatnot, and it's a decent way to practice. I still like playing in-game a little bit more, but as of right now, you know, it's not as viable. However, don't worry, I still will be doing in-game content, mainly probably best of 3s or best of 1s against top players in the game. Of course, that takes a little bit more time. It's not something I can instantly just record because I do have to schedule with someone and I do have to prepare a team, whereas on Showdown, I can really test anything. So, you know, to start off the VGC 2016 content, I figured I would just play a couple games on Showdown, but don't worry guys, I still have a lot of Wi-Fi content planned as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump online and we're gonna see what we can find. I haven't played too many games on this account, so we'll see how it goes. But you see my team, I'm using Kangaskhan, Xerneas, Kyogre, Ferrothorn, Gengar, and Landorus. So kind of a random team that I threw together, kind of just theory-monned. You know, right now I do want to talk about VGC 2016. You know, the Xerneas Groudon core, often seen with Kangaskhan, is really common. But the team itself, when I was playing with it, was a little bit weak to opposing Groudons, and Kyogre gives me another option. Though this should be an interesting match since my opponent has a Groudon of his own, but also has a Ludicolo, which, you know, obviously Kyogre can help set up. So my opponent's got double Intimidate with the Mawile and Landorus. You've got the Primal Groudon and the Yveltal for the two restricted Pokemon, and then Ludicolo and Thundurus. So, you know, definitely a really strong team here. I think Yveltal is really interesting, and it's something I'll be testing. You know, now that VGC 2016 is so new, I'll be testing so many different things in Pokemon. So if you guys have any suggestions for cores that you want to, you know, see in future episodes, definitely let me know. In addition, if you like this series and you want to see more, please show your support by leaving a like on the video or leaving me any comments or suggestions. You know, I want to make this content as good as possible for you, and this is a little bit different from what we've done before. Obviously, no face cam as well. I figured it'd be better just to keep it, you know, nice and simple. But let's see what I want to lead with here. I do really like Gengar in this format because it can't get faked out. So I might just lead with Gengar immediately. Thundurus on my opponent's side is definitely a little bit concerning. Xerneas is decent, but it obviously has to watch out for Groudon and Mawile, but I do have the Kyogre to deal with that. The question is, do I really want to lead Kangaskhan? Given that my opponent has double Intimidate, I feel like one of the two is definitely coming out. So I might lead something like Gengar, Xerneas. You know, this is tough because all my Pokemon are pretty good. And the weird thing about having Gengar, Landorus, and Ferrothorn as your restricted Pokemon is that there are a lot of games where you really just want to bring all of them. So I'll lead with Gengar and Xerneas. I think Kyogre is pretty necessary here. And for the last one, let's see. You know, Landorus Eye is really nice here to just Earth Power one-hit KO the Groudon and the Mawile, but you obviously have to watch out for the Ice-type attacks. The Ferrothorn here is pretty decent against everything bar the Groudon. Kangaskhan here does give me fake out pressure. Decisions. So it's between whether I want Kangaskhan for fake out pressure or Ferrothorn. I think I'm gonna go with Ferrothorn here. So it feels a little bit weird to not even bring Kangaskhan. But we're gonna have the Thundurus Groudon lead for my opponent against my Gengar and Xerneas. So this is definitely in my opponent's advantage right now. But could be worse, I would say. No, I could switch to Kyogre immediately. And that would shut down Groudon. But the question is, what does Thundurus do here? I think it's probably going to want a Thunder Wave. But I do have Protect here with my Gengar. But I kind of want to just double up on Thundurus so then Kyogre can come in. But then he probably has Ludicolo as well. I'm guessing my opponent's last two are Ludicolo and Yveltal, opting not to bring Omega. Which is a really good choice. So I ended up trying to counter the Intimidate a little bit, and it didn't really work out too well. So that was not in my favor. And the difficulty about Groudon is you never know what set it is. I mean, when I see this kind of lead, I assume it's actually special running Eruption. So I could definitely see an Eruption come out right now. For example, Thunder Wave onto Gengar and an Eruption. So I could Protect and switch out into Kyogre, but it doesn't really give me much more leeway. So I kind of want to just double up on Thundurus and see what we can get out of it. Oh, great, we see a Taunt come out at least. So we do get the Sludge Bomb off, we do get the Moonblast off, so at least we eliminate Thundurus, which means that I have a little bit easier of a time with my Kyogre. And he goes for the Earth Power onto Xerneas as well. That really couldn't have played out any better. No Eruption coming out, potentially fearing a Kyogre switch in, but I figured I was just going to go for it. And Mawile does come in for my opponent as well. So let's see, that's definitely really good for me, but this next turn is important. You can see my Gengar moveset here, I don't have Shadow Ball and I have Protect over it. I did run Gengar in 2014 and in 2015 a little bit as well. Inspiration really coming from Marcus Thatter, who, by the way, I do want to shout out since he does have his own YouTube channel. Now he's making a lot of cool content, so I'll link his channel in the description below. He's doing a lot of in-game VGC 2016 stuff. But yeah, so that first turn played out about 10 times better than I expected. And now, let's see, Groudon revealing itself to be special, which definitely helps out in the Groudon Mirror match because Precipice Blades can't knock out, whereas Earth Power can. So, how people build their primals are really interesting right now, since there are honestly a lot of ways. You've seen Special Groudon, Physical Groudon, and then Kyogre can be Calm Mind, whether you want to run, Water Spout or Origin Pulse. So let's see, here, Mawile can, I really want to switch out Gengar here, but it's a pretty free call for my opponent, but I think I'm going to pull out the Kyogre Ferrothorn switch. This is a very obvious switch, but there's really not much else I can do. Switching in this format is 10 times more difficult because it's so easy for your opponent to capitalize off it. So let's see if my opponent went for the Play Rough, but no, he goes for the Sucker Punch. It does go for the Eruption there, but because I have Ferrothorn out, it does fizzle out. So that plays out quite perfectly for me here. I'm actually just going to go for the Water Spout, and now that Groudon is basically rendered useless, presumably it's going to switch out into Ludicolo, which is my best bet. Maybe the Yveltal, but it's actually Landorus Therian form. That's really bad news for my opponent here. Water Spout actually just picks up the double knockout onto both Pokemon, and that's probably going to ensure a win in 4 turns. So I do want to talk a little bit about the pace of VGC 2016. I'm honestly pretty scared for best of 1 play in this format when I look at tournaments like regionals. Because, of course, once we move on to US Nationals and Worlds, it's all best of 3. So, this format's really fun when you play best of 3. But best of 1 can easily end in 1 to 2 turns. Honestly, there's so many games I've played so far in practice where, it basically goes 1, 2, 3, and then you're done. And then look at here, we're going to have a 4/5 turn game. And that's because of these legendaries and these primals. So you really have to play smart. And now the nice thing about best of 3 plays, you can make really smart adjustments and instantly shut down your opponent's strategy immediately. So in the best of 3 sets I've played so far, it's been really interesting and it's really back and forth. Whereas best of 1, most of the times they end pretty quickly because it's really, who manages their primals a little bit better, who manages their legendaries a little bit better, etc. So honestly was not expecting this kind of battle, just because if you look at the opening turns, that lead matchup looked pretty bad from the start, especially given that Groudon did have Eruption, but because my opponent feared the Kyogre switch in and I didn't make that switch, I was able to fully capitalize off it, and after eliminating Thundurus, a Kyogre Water Spout just won me the game, especially with Landorus and Mawile, neither which resist, and Mawile opting not to go for the Sucker Punch. So we do take a win there, a pretty exciting one, and let's just look for another battle. Looks like my opponent here only has 4 Pokemon, but we do have the Kangaskhan, Xerneas, Groudon core, but Greninja routing it out, which is pretty interesting. So one reason why I actually included Landorus Incarnate form, unfortunately it doesn't get Sheer Force, which kind of sucks, so I'm forced to use Sand Force, which really doesn't help me out since, you don't see sand around in the format, but it gets a bunch of neat tricks. You get Grass Knot, which hits the Kyogre, you get Earth Power, which one-hit KOs Groudon, and then you can knock off the Xerneas. So something I like to do sometimes to counter is either leave Kangaskhan Landorus or Gengar Landorus. Maybe bait the fake out away and you just go for a knockoff and force them to charge that turn. But I definitely really am scared of this Greninja. So, this is always a really scary core, and I do have Kangaskhan Xerneas on my side as well, but the question is, do I really want to go with it? I'm leaning more towards Kangaskhan Gengar here, since Gengar can allow me to Will-O-Wisp or Sludge Bomb / taunt the Xerneas. Kyogre in the back definitely makes some sense to me. And for the last one, my opponent only has 4 Pokemon here, so, yeah. I don't think my own Xerneas is that great. It's really between my Landorus and Ferrothorn, but I think Ferrothorn's better because once I eliminate Groudon, Ferrothorn wins the match. And I know that pretty confidently. I guess he can have Low Kick here as well. But he's going to go with Kangaskhan and Greninja here against my Kangaskhan and my Gengar. Pretty optimal lead matchup, I would say. Really depends on the ability of the Kangaskhan, whether he is Scrappy, and what he goes for the first turn, really. You know, the Kangaskhan mirror match is something to be expected here. I do think Kangaskhan is still one of the top Mega Evolutions, if not the best one. Other top ones, we did see Mawile on the last one, which I know is really good, especially when paired with Yveltal because of its ability. And then I do think Mega Rayquaza is still solid, though not as OP as a lot of players who haven't really played VGC think it is. I do think it is really good, though, if you have the proper support, and it's definitely something you should prepare for. So let's see, on this first turn, I feel like if you have Scrappy, you Scrappy fake out Gengar here. So I'm going to fake out Greninja, and the question is, do I protect? Because if I do protect, and he does have... Well, I could switch into Ferrothorn as well, actually. Yeah, let's go for that, actually. I like that play the most. So the only issue here is if Kangaskhan just goes for a low kick. So I Mega Evolve first, he doesn't Mega Evolve, that's excellent, indicating to me he did go for the fake out onto... Oh, wow, no, he went for the low kick. I guess just wanting to keep Scrappy. And unfortunately gets a critical hit, which definitely hurts me a little bit. Interesting play. Well, that allows me to switch back out into Gengar. Maybe he was considering that, but yeah, that crit definitely puts me behind a little bit. You could Dark Pulse here. I really want to eliminate Greninja, though. That's the main Pokemon. I should have just Will-O-Wisp, I guess. But didn't want to lose my Sash. I guess you can low kick Ferrothorn here. So I could just Sucker Punch. Whew. So you really want to eliminate Greninja. So I could just Sucker Punch Gyro Ball. Yeah, sure, let's go for that. So that is around 40%, yep. Oh wow, he Sucker Punched Kangaskhan. And he low kicks, perfect. Nice. So I guess we don't speed tie there since my Kangaskhan's faster, so that was kind of a silly play on my opponent's end. Since my Kangaskhan's definitely switching out or using Sucker Punch, there's no reason. I mean, I guess you could make a predict, assuming me to return / double edge / low kick. But, curious decision there. Okay, so Xerneas comes out for my opponent, and this is actually looking pretty bad right now, because I don't have a surefire answer against it. Well, I guess I could just low kick Gyro Ball. But he's smart enough to attack my Ferrothorn here. Yeah. Oh, maybe Leech Seed would have been the play there. I think that would have been the play, since now he's going to be able to get the Geomancy up, and that's really bad for me. Yeah. See, that's why the late game Xerneas is so good. You find a position where you get a Geomancy up, and that can instantly beat game. And so I do have the weather advantage here because my Kyogre is out in the back. My Kyogre is max speed, but Moonblast can still knock it out, I believe. And I don't want to really switch it in here. Kangaskhan is outsped at this point anyway, so I think I'm just going to protect my Gengar, and I'll go for the Sucker Punch to try to get at least some damage off against Xerneas. Yeah, so I'll Sucker Punch, and I will protect. So it's still possible with Sludge Bomb and Origin Pulse. You know, get some decent damage. Any damage against Xerneas is good at this point. He does go for the Dazzling Gleam here. We are going to see Groudon go for the Overheat. So, yep. You see, most Groudons are probably carrying Overheat or Eruption nowadays over a Fire Punch, which gets intimidated and is just weaker. But Overheat's really, really powerful. Eruption, obviously, so strong. Okay, so I get my Kyogre in here, but now this is a pretty big turn, because the question is, what does my opponent go for here? Because if you have Moonblast on Xerneas, which you probably have, you can just... Actually, I lose outright, I think, since Moonblast just knocks out Kyogre. So yeah, I shouldn't be able to win this game. So I'd have to hope my opponent messes up. Let's see, if he Moonblast... Yeah, because I only have Sludge Bomb on Gengar, so I don't have a reliable answer. I guess I'd have to go for the Protect plays here. I mean, so I could Protect Kyogre and just Sludge Bomb Xerneas, hoping for a crit or a poison. I guess I'll go for that play. Oh, he has Grass Knot, which is an even stronger option here. No poison here. He does get the Overheat, but yeah, his fizzles out in the rain, so I don't know what my opponent's going for there. Can another one knock Xerneas out? Another one can. So, I mean, obviously I go for the double protect right now. Does my opponent predict the double protect and protect his own Xerneas? I mean, it's not like... Groudon might not have any options against me if its moveset is Overheat. But then the rain fizzles out when... Oh no, I don't think it leaves, actually. I'm gonna go for the double protect. Oh, he got it! And he goes for the Dazzling Gleam, but that's not enough. Sludge Bomb picks up the knockout. Wow, we managed to steal one away. Nice. And Groudon has Thunder? Okay. Well, if my opponent just went for Thunder last turn, he would have won the game, so I don't understand what happened there. That's why each turn is so important in this game. You really can't mess up here. Wow. That was really something there. Was not expecting that, but okay. So let's look for another one. I'm also curious, as you know, we do this series, I definitely want to know your feedback on how many games you'd like to see per episode or how long you want to see it. You know, for reference, the average Road to Ranked episode was probably 25 minutes, or maybe plus or minus 2 minutes. Whereas, you know, Showdown, it's so much easier to just grind through games. I am playing one at a time. Normally when I practice on Showdown, I have like multiple tabs open and I don't pay as much attention. But as you can see, I am trying to give you guys a little bit more in-depth commentary, and as a result, play a little bit slower, which I think is a little bit helpful as well. Helps me gather my mind set and just things I think about. So, yeah, any feedback on this series would definitely be great. You know, the pace of the series, how many games you want to see, how long you would probably tune into for an average Showdown session or not. I also do want to know how frequently you want to see it. You do want to see it on a daily basis, every other day. How often do you want to see it intertwined with stuff like analyses and in-game battles? So yeah, honestly, any feedback is good because I just want to figure out what gets you guys watching the most and what gets you guys the most interested. But let's talk about this next game. So this one's pretty interesting because it's heavily focused on priority. As you see, the Sableye, the Meowstic, and the Liepard, really interesting core. Also, my opponent only has one legendary, and that's the Primal Kyogre. So yeah, I'm not really sure what to expect here. The triple legendary is pretty interesting. I do not have Quick Guard on any of my Pokemon. Quick Guard being a really viable move this year because of all the prankster. You know, Liepard is really good now because of the fact that with the Focus Sash, you know, it's 2 KO'd anyway, so allows you to get Fake Out. You can Encore, you can Taunt, you can Foul Play, you can Swagger. Liepard's always had a little bit of success in all the years and definitely fits into this format pretty well, despite it, you know, seeming really frail. But yeah, let's see. What do I want to lead with here? Fake Out's imminent from about everything. He's got Will-O-Wisp potential here. I mean, I could just kind of go with Xerneas. Nothing resists the Dazzling Gleam here. If I lead Xerneas, I really have to strongly consider who to pair it up with, but I think Kangaskhan Xerneas honestly makes a lot of sense here. I do want Gengar because Gengar does have Taunt here, which can go a long way, but I think Kyogre or Ferrothorn might just be a better alternative. My opponent's answers against Kyogre's Origin Pulse / Water Spout also aren't very good. You do know that I am running both right now, just because I'm kind of curious on testing it. I think it's kind of nice because against, you know, teams that don't have fast Pokemon, you can just get a strong Water Spout off, and afterwards you're like, oh, their offense is completely neutered, but then nope, you still have Origin Pulse. So we're going to see the Liepard Kangaskhan lead from my opponent against my Kangaskhan Xerneas lead, and this is something that you really have to think about because, first of all, there's the double Fake Out option from my opponent's end, but let's say I Fake Out with Kangaskhan, then Liepard can actually Encore me the following turn, so that's definitely something I have to watch out for. My opponent here could just go for like a double Fake Out this first turn, Fake Out Kangaskhan and Fake Out Xerneas. So I could switch my Xerneas out into Ferrothorn, Mega Evolve, and just go for the low kick. Presumably he's gonna, you know, fake me out here. Do I want to do that? Yeah. See, the thing about Liepard is it doesn't have really much offensive pressure. Actually, it does. I should correct myself because Foul Play is really strong here, and it's a really good move this year in general. But at the same time, let's see. Oh, Kangaskhan protected. Interesting. And he charms. Wow. So I could have capitalized there by Dazzling Gleaming, but hey, you know what? That's fine. It's not the worst of cases here. Yeah, I wasn't expecting Charm and Protect and my opponent to not Mega Evolve. I mean, I could Leech Seed here, but I kind of want to just Gyro Ball and Low Kick. Yeah. But the Charm here is kind of a big deal, right? Because my team is pretty physically based right now with Kangaskhan and Ferrothorn. He's going to Mega Evolve here. He's going to go for a Charm on a Kangaskhan once again. But I actually get a crit, which really sucks for my opponent. So I do feel really bad about that. But, yeah, that's why Charm and moves like that really sometimes don't work out as well as you'd really hope for them to. But that's kind of a big turn for me there. Because he didn't charm the Ferrothorn, you know, I don't think it made as much of a deal because regardless of whom Kangaskhan targeted, you know, if you low kick my Kangaskhan, my Gyro Ball knocks you out. If you low kick Ferrothorn, Gyro Ball knocks you out. But it just means that I managed to come out of the turn really without taking much damage, so I did get pretty lucky there. Here I'm going to go for the Leech Seed onto Kyogre. Leech Seed and Kyogre is always good because they don't really have many offensive options. Of course, Pokemon like Kyogre are still just so strong, especially with the Water Boost or the Rain Boost, that you just do so much damage even with moves like even when you resist. So like Ferrothorn, I think Ferrothorn is a really good Pokemon in the format, but at the same time you have to be careful because a water type attack like Origin Pulse plus Water Spout plus another attack like Foul Play can actually just knock your Ferrothorn out. My opponent could make that play right now, honestly, so maybe I should consider that. I could make the Protect play here. Well, kind of want to just Protect Return. Yeah. I wouldn't normally recommend protecting against Liepard, but he's just going to charm my Kangaskhan, okay. Oh, wow, it actually hung on. Needs Water Spout here. Okay. That was a nice play on my opponent's end for sure. Oh, for sure. So I could Sucker Punch Liepard, but it's probably going to charm here. So I'll Leech Seed Kyogre and... Ooh, but he could Encore me now. That was why I should not have protected. Yeah, I thought Return would knock him out, but Liepard hangs on with a sliver of HP. I guess I'll switch to my Kyogre and just return Liepard. Yeah, I like that. And once again, yeah, he has no other legendary. I mean, right now it is a little bit lower ladder too. I actually never play on Showdown, or never really played, especially on my main account, mainly because I get PMs and I don't really want to deal with that, and I like playing under an alt. But so far it's been pretty decent. I think not joining the VGC room definitely helps. And as a result, I think I played like 6 games or so before I started recording for today's episode. And they, just to get my rating up a little bit higher. But I do, probably want to play a little bit more games, so we end up running into more legitimate teams mainly. I mean, we did play a couple good teams, but there's very little reason to not have 2 legendaries in this format. I mean, when I've talked to a lot of players about what they think about the format and whatnot, really the idea is that you build behind these legendaries. Like, your main core should be these legendaries, and your supporting cast should be ways to, help it support. As a Kyogre goes for the Protector, and Liepard goes for the Taunt. So, I'm guessing this Liepard doesn't even carry Encore, which, makes sense. I mean, we've seen Taunt, we've seen Charm. I think that's all we've seen, actually, with 3 Charms and a Taunt. Probably Fake out there. Sableye is my opponent's last one, so Xerneas right now behind, looking really solid. Let's see. Probably gonna see a Fake out here. So I'll I can't protect. He taunted me. Whoops. I can take a Fake out Water Spout, I guess. Do I want to switch out? Is it worth switching out? I don't think it's worth switching out. Yeah, it's not. So I'll take the damage this turn. If he doesn't Fake out, then I just get an attack off, and then I'll go for the... Does slow game or return do? Return does more, I believe, right? Because of stab, because you're 102, and then whereas this was 120. But he fakes out Kangaskhan. Okay, I guess expecting the switch. See, this is why over-predicting in this format is so scary, and he has a Thunderbolt on Kyogre, opting to run Thunderbolt over Thunder, which is also an interesting decision. I think Thunder is honestly much more worth it. If you're facing against a Groudon, I mean, you're probably not going to be using Thunder anyway. So, Thunderbolt's just not as reliable. I mean, I guess it still picks up the 2-hit KO here. But, yeah. But regardless, we're going to be able to pick up a win here. Though the team was a little bit interesting. I do, think there were some viable options here. I mean, Liepard and Meowstic are honestly still really strong here. So is Sableye, especially because Sableye actually gets access to the move Quash, which is really strong, since it'll allow you to delay an attack, and you can use a sweeper like Kyogre and Groudon just to get a Water Spout / Eruption / Origin Pulse. So we do pick up a nice win here. I guess I'll play one more game, maybe 2 more. We'll see how fast it is. Alright. Ooh, I like this team. This is definitely really strong. So, we see the Crobat, which I'm glad we hit one, because Crobat is one of the best Pokemon in the format right now, I think, and I really like it. We do see the Liepard return again, but the Salamence here is the Mega Evolution, and Salamence, I think, is on par with Kyogre, or not with Kyogre, on par with Kangaskhan and Rayquaza for the top legendaries right now, or Megas, excuse me. It's so easy to get confused with everything, because now you have Megas, you have Primals, you have Legendaries, etc., and then you have restricted Legendaries, so it can be really trippy sometimes, whereas before it was a little bit simpler, but I will be talking about this a little bit more in the upcoming team building video, where I kind of discuss each kind of Pokemon that you can use and your options and why you should consider all of them. So keep your eyes open for that. That'll be coming out soon, since I am going to spend a lot of time making content in the upcoming days. But let's talk about this match. So Immediately, Crobat's the #1 threat, I would say, because it can't get faked up by Kangaskhan, and it can go for Tailwind, and that's really bad for me. Honestly, I think my team is a little bit Crobat weak, so I'm not very happy about that, and it's probably something I have to adjust in team building. Maybe getting rid of something for a better option, but Crobat's just really, really strong. The question is, who does my opponent pair it up with? I mean, I could lead Gengar to taunt. Actually, I kind of like the Kyogre option here. Kangaskhan, Kyogre. Definitely want Ferrothorn for really everything. Ferrothorn's amazing in this match, but I do have to watch out for a surprise fire type attack from the Salamence. And for the last one, it's Xerneas, Gengar, Landorus. Let's see. So really my question is right now, what's worth switching out or switching into? I feel like Gengar might be a little bit better because it does have the Focus Sash. And my team, as you can see, also, this is not a very good team, just to put it out there. It's just something I threw together that I thought works offensively and fits Pokemon that I've used before. You know, I used Ferrothorn at Worlds the last 2 years, used Kangaskhan, got top 4 at Nationals with Landorus, etc. So, well, it's more Pokemon I'm familiar with, but it definitely hasn't had that much insight into it. So, you know, I'll be working on building better teams in the future as well. We're running out of time here, so I guess for the last one, I will go with... This is still a tough call. I'm gonna go with Gengar here. I can Taunt and I can Will-O-Wisp. Alright. So we see the Crobat Ferrothorn lead from my opponent, which is pretty strong, but actually I can go straight for the, maybe want to Origin Pulse here instead of Water Spouting, since he might just go for the, Super Fang. So I could Origin Pulse Low Kick. I kind of want to just go all in this turn. Let's see. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I had my Ferrothorn out. I was like, sure, Ferrothorn looks pretty good against a Kangaskhan and a Water-type Pokemon, but sometimes it's not as good as you think it is. And the question on whether you should run Low Kick and Power or Power Up Punch on Kangaskhan is also a pretty interesting one, since you know both are pretty viable moves, especially with Kangaskhan and Xerneas. You can instantly get a pretty much lock a win when you get a Power Up Punch and a free Geomancy off. But I do like Low Kick a little bit more. But my opponent is smart enough to protect with the Ferrothorn here, and he actually does go for the Super Fang here onto my Kyogre. Doesn't knock me out, actually. Brings me down to... Or, Origin Pulse doesn't knock him out, excuse me, I should say that. So I actually don't mind that, right? Because now he has to switch out Ferrothorn. The Crobat here could Tailwind, but I am going to go for an Origin Pulse once again. And I could just Low Kick once again, right? Like, he has no switches to an Origin Pulse and a Low Kick. So I'm going to double up here. He's probably going to lose 2 Pokemon. Yep, he's just going to Super Fang here. I do have to hit the Origin Pulse, though, which is still scary. Let's see if we can get it. Origin Pulse knocks out both Pokemon. Nice! So I took a lot of damage from the Super Fang, the double Super Fang, and the Iron Barbs, but could be worse. However, I didn't knock out either of my opponent's legendaries, whereas my Mega Evolution took some damage. Looks like he didn't bring a Mega here, so no Mega Salamence. One of the reasons why I think Mega Salamence is really good is because of Intimidate, but other reasons include outspeeding Mega Rayquaza. Everyone's so scared of Mega Rayquaza. Mega Salamence, one of the better answers to it, since you can just outspeed and knock it out. My Ferrothorn looking really solid right now, but at the same time, let's see. So... First of all, I'm pretty glad I brought... I mean, Gengar helps me out a little bit more here, I would say. I can just Origin Pulse once again. And I could return here. Who do I return, though? I want to return Kyogre. Oh, okay, he didn't protect. I was expecting to protect there, but I do a ton of damage there. He actually goes straight for the Geomancy with the Xerneas here, which is okay. Don't knock out Kyogre with the Origin Pulse here. Yeah, but yes, he does have Water Spout, which I figured he might go for. However, now he's going to be able to protect Kyogre and just go for a Dazzling Gleam or something of the sort. So here's what I'll do. I'll switch Kyogre out into my Ferrothorn. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I'll switch Kangaskhan into Ferrothorn. No. Let's think about this once again. Okay, so here's the biggest thing right now. You should be able to win this one, right? Because I've done so much damage in the first couple of turns. So, to map this out, Kyogre here either protects or attacks. Now, if I sack my Kyogre, I can switch Kangaskhan out into Gengar and take a Dazzling Gleam. But the real question here is, does Kyogre protect? If he doesn't protect and I predict the protect, then I'm kind of in some trouble. I think I still want to switch out to Gengar here. Not with... I'm gonna Origin Pulse and switch out to Gengar. Fully accepting... If he protects with Kyogre here, he actually loses. But my opponent might be smart enough to realize the win condition here and just go for an attack with Kyogre. So, kind of a 50-50 call here. Let's say he attacks here. Then I bring in my Kangaskhan. Then he's still kind of in some trouble. No, because he'll be able to get damage off against the Gengar. So this is a little bit scary, and I still need to knock out one of the two for Ferrothorn to win this match. And that's why I really wanted to pick up the knockout there on Kyogre, but you see I did opt for return over Double Edge here, and Double Edge would have won me the game, so perhaps I should reconsider that. But, you know, for how scary the lead matchup was, I'm at least pretty okay with how I've been able to bring it back to this point, though the return onto Xernea's play might have been a little bit better. I also don't know the role there was on Kyogre, but alright, Kangaskhan switches out. Nice, he makes the read here, doesn't protect with the Gengar, or the Kyogre, so great play by my opponent there. Picks up the double knockout. So I bring in Kangaskhan and Ferrothorn now, but he can just double protect. However, it's still not over. So I figured even if that play didn't go in my favor, I can still win this one, but it's gonna be scary. I want to go for the Gyro Ball here, and I'll just fake out Kyogre, yeah. He's probably gonna double protect here. Xerneas protects. Yep, protects from Kyogre, so blows out both. Let's see. So now the question is, what do you do? So I'm gonna Gyro Ball Xerneas. I'm just gonna Sucker Punch here. Yeah, I mean your Xerneas here. Oh wow, he gave. Yeah, okay. So I figured Kyogre might want to have double protected here. So he gets the Dazzling Gleam off, but Gyro Ball will be enough to pick up the knockout there into Xerneas. So nice, nice, nice. Let's pick up another win there. Brings us to 1251. And yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a day for this episode. Whoops, I do have to respond to that afterwards. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about the couple of battles we had today. I will probably put some music on, so let me know if you enjoyed the music, and if you want to see a face cam, any suggestions you have for me playing on Showdown in general. I know it's really not as interactive and as fun as watching Wi-Fi battles, but at least we get to play a couple more games, and I get to talk to you guys a little bit more about my thought decision and just my thoughts on the metagame, since there's a good amount of spare time to kill, given that you have more time to make your moves on Showdown, even though the moves happen really quickly. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please, 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 if you enjoyed it, show your support by leaving a like on the video and giving me any feedback or comments in the description, or in the comments below, excuse me. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. Once again, you know, I mentioned a bunch of things, but let me know what you guys thought about the series, what you guys thought about the first episode, the length of the episode, and any other suggestions, what future teams you might want to see, future Pokemon, and how frequently you want to see me do this as opposed to playing online and on Wi-Fi. Alright, perfect, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace.